Creators of Godzilla vs. Kong, Legendary Studios, are once again bringing massive creatures to the big screen in the form of Dune sandworms. Also known as Shai-Hulud, these monstrous worms come from the planet Arrakis, and are the key to this universe's advanced technology. Terraforming the planet to be perfectly suited for them, these worms thrive in dry climates with absolutely no water, hence the reason why the whole concept of Dune takes place on this desert planet. In the lore of the series, the sandworm's larvae expel a substance nicknamed spice, which humanity has used to evolve on a mental, spiritual, and technological level, becoming this alternate universe's power source for the betterment of mankind. And the central theme of the entire story of Dune, but harvesting spice is insanely dangerous. Out on the dunes of Arrakis, harvesters put their lives on the line in order to acquire this super fuel. They must move swiftly and carefully. If they aren't fast enough, the adult worms will come for them. And when they do, there is no safe place. Giant space worms have been a popular reoccurrence in cinema for decades, likely due to our kind's fascination with worms growing up. Whether they intrigue you or disgust you, it's likely that mostly all of us, no matter where you are from, have come in contact with some form of worm. We commonly think of earthworms as these slimy, few-inch-long critters that we can find out in our backyards, but the largest earthworm ever found will blow your mind. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, the largest worm ever seen was found in South Africa year 1967, and measured in at a staggering 7 meters or 21 feet long, and was as thick as a broom handle. This cousin breed to our common earthworms is about as close as it gets to Dune's sandworms in our real world. The sandworms of Dune resemble something similar to a common earthworm, but also adding in many features of a lamprey fish, this hellish-looking abomination. Yeesh. But luckily for us Earthlings, our worms don't become larger than Godzilla. These worms can literally dwarf the king of the monsters. But how massive are they really? All that and more in this special Dune-themed video. Let's get to it. The young larvae for these behemoths wouldn't at first make you believe that they would grow to become world-changing monsters, as they are around the same size as a baby whale. Massive creatures in our real world, but nothing compared to what these sandworms can reach. A scene from Dune's novel states the gaping jaw of one of these worms to be nearly 260 feet or 80 meters wide. That's about the size of a football field to give you some epic perspective. And this is said to be one of the larger worms seen in the lore of the series. But official sizes for these worms are never fully established in the lore. This could be due to the worm's constant never-ending growth, or the fact that they are insanely too dangerous to just walk up to and get an accurate measurement. But the vast array of books, movies, and other media forms of input in this series gives fans enough information to make some accurate measurements. So let's break down the size of these beasts. The average length of a Shai-Hulud typically comes in at 400 meters, or a jaw-dropping 1,300 feet in length. For some perspective, I'll go over the sizes of some other famous sci-fi worms and then end with a comparison with the king of the monsters. Coming from a series that used to scare the heck out of me as a kid, we have the Graboids. These vicious alpha predator worms terrorized the planet in the cult series Tremors. While nowhere near as massive as the Dune sandworms, these worms were just as keen on ending any life that wasn't their own. Growing up to maximum sizes of 30 feet or around 10 meters long, and being a thick 6 feet 2 meters in diameter. Not the uber titan size we see worms reaching in some other sci-fi universes, but I still wouldn't want to have to deal with these killers. Next we have the famous space slug from Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. We saw this worm have the Millennium Falcon fly right through its mouth, appearing to be a gigantic tunnel. Once the crew learned that they were in the belly of the beast, it was a quick race to get out before the worm trapped them inside for good. Curiously, this space worm is one of the largest ever seen in the lore of Star Wars for this particular breed. On average, the worms would grow to around 10 meters in length, 30 feet-ish, and then split in two. But on occasion, this strange form of reproduction would not occur, and this would leave the individual worm to continue to grow without anything stopping it, eventually leading to a maximum known size of around 900 meters or nearly 3,000 feet long. A size that's right up there with the larger sandworms from Arrakis. The last sci-fi worm is even more catastrophic than the Shai-Hulud, the Riftworm from Gears of War 2. These worms are world eaters, tunneling through the innards of the planet Sera in the Gears lore, creating massive cave systems that are awe-inspiring. This mega giant could grow to a size that is practically unfathomable. Get this, the Riftworm could grow to 10 miles long and a half a mile wide. That's over 50,000 feet long and nearly 3,000 feet wide. All the other worms in this video, Shai-Hulud included, would look like nothing but infants and juveniles if they were side by side with this monster. Now to the main event, how does the Sandworm stack up with the king of the monsters? For some perspective here, Monster vs. Godzilla is one of the biggest ever created, and his total length is roughly around 900 feet. Meaning just an average old Sandworm is 400 feet longer than Godzilla. But the G-Man could still hurdle over one of these worms, as their height and diameter is averaged out at around 40 meters or 130 feet. About a third of the height is the big G-Man. But as I said, these are just the run-of-the-mill sandworms. Some are said to be much, much larger. Deep in the lore of the Dune series, a godly giant is said to exist. The largest sandworm seen in the series dwarfs Godzilla, said to be 2 miles or 3 kilometers long. That's over 10,000 feet or 3,000 meters long. The height and diameter of this gigantic worm is not stated, but using the percentages found in the average worms, we can predict that this uber worm was over 1,000 feet tall. That's like stacking 2 Godzillas and a growing Kong on each other. This monster would swallow either of them whole.
Sublime beauty, do you not agree, Doctor?
The Dune sandworms are massive, epic creatures of sci-fi that luckily we haven't stumbled upon in the real universe yet. They may not be as recognizable as Godzilla, Kong, or many other cinema favorites, but they certainly have a place as one of the largest sci-fi creatures ever brought to paper and film. A question I have for you residents is, if Godzilla was to somehow be dropped on the planet Arrakis, would he be able to survive the planet full of gigantic, super fuel-spewing earthworms? This question will be answered in a video dropping on the channel very soon, so stay tuned. Subscribe, stomp the bell, and leave us a like if you think I earned it. Share this video around with your friends, and let me know if you plan on watching the new Dune in theaters or HBO Max. As always, residents, this has been Jacob, and I will see you in the next one.